the Osmo Pocket 3. Now, this camera has been all over social media. You've probably seen it. You probably know a lot about it. And I'm not here to do a tech spec rundown by any means, but for anybody who doesn't know what this is, it's a tiny little camera from DJI. It has, I think, like a 1-inch sensor in it. I could be wrong. Probably I'm wrong. It's got a built-in gimbal, got a little flip-out screen, and it's an awesome little camera. Now, I love gear just as much as the next guy, but over the years of growing in my video business, I've come to realize that you have to buy gear with purpose. You can't just buy gear because you think it'll be cool if you want to be profitable. Every piece of gear you buy should be a tool for your business to make you more money. If you don't know who I am, my name's Tyler at Media. It's a video production and strategy company here in Buffalo, New York. We're consistently doing anywhere from $20,000 to $35,000 a month in revenue. So like I said, anytime I buy a piece of gear, as much as I want to buy literally everything, I'm pretty good at finding a justification for making it work in my business, like, I offer something. Every piece of gear should be something that you can use in your client work or that will make you more money somehow. It has to have a good return on investment. And honestly, I have bought so many little cameras. I bought the little Insta360 clip-on camera. Cool. The quality isn't the best. It's cool for like cool little vantage points, like the clip-ons and then point of view stuff. But quality wasn't quite what I wanted for, especially for client work. I also bought the Insta360 X4, I think it is, a 360 camera, which I actually love. I don't think I'd ever use it on client work, but I love it for behind the scenes camera when I'm on shoots. You can just put it up and it's gonna get everything in it. We can crop vertically and horizontally. So I am a sucker for tiny little cameras, but I've come to realize that not many of them are usable in a client setting until this came along. And I'll be honest, I thought this was more of a toy like the other things were gonna be, but the reviews were awesome. So I figured why not give it a shot. I think honestly what got me was the cool rolling car shots you see on TikTok, which I don't do, but the quality was insane. But the question still remains, how can I use this as a tool in my business? And is it good enough to use in client work? So far, I've been using this as a behind the scenes camera for my own content because as video agency owners, it's really hard for us to make our own content when we're all working on everybody's stuff. And for me, what I've realized is the easier you can make the thing to do, the more likely you are to do that thing. So for me, I'm not gonna, for social media and stuff like that, I'm not gonna be able to pull out the FX3 or the FX30 and set up all this stuff. And it's just hard to do, especially if we don't have time to do it. So I figured if I can have this little camera, put it up somewhere and get some B-roll and some behind the scene footage that still looks good, I can put like text over the graphics or make that into an Instagram post, and it's been phenomenal for that. Truth be told, I've been using the Osmo Pocket 3 on auto for a lot of my stuff because it does a really good job of compensating for things. Obviously, it's not going to be the most cinematic, but at the end of the day, no one really cares unless you're trying to make it look as good as possible. I throw it in automatic color, automatic exposure, and just let it do its thing, and it's been great. So like I said, the point of this video is to see if I can use the Osmo Pocket 3 in a professional setting and actually make money with it beyond the money that it's able to help me through marketing and making my own content easier. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up a set here in the studio and compare it to probably the FX3, which I had right here. And we're gonna put this on there and see how it looks in comparison. And ultimately, if our clients will care enough. Because something that I noticed is you and I care way more about the image quality than our clients do. And as long as that looks good enough, you can make money with it. So I'm gonna set the set and I'll see you in a second. And real quick, if you're enjoying this video and you wanna learn how to grow your video business to your first $10,000 months or add $10,000 a month to what you're currently doing, check the links below to learn how we can work together to blow up your business. Okay, so now I am set up in the little studio set here for our podcast set. New set. I absolutely love how this looks. For reference, I know this is a little unfair, but I am using the Sony FX3, which is a full frame sensor. The Sony 50mm 1.4, I have it stopped down to 2.8 because 1.4 is completely unfair. And that's really it. So this is something how it's set up for like a podcast shoot. And now I'm going to switch over to the Osmo Pocket to see how it looks as well, which is right here. And we're not using this in auto anymore because I want to give this the best shot it had to looking professional. And so we're in the D-Log M color profile, manual white balance, manual exposure controls, and things like that. So both being shot in 4K 24. I think obviously now it's hard to see by looking at the screens, but I honestly think that the Osmo Pocket, obviously the Sony's gonna look quite a bit better, but if you had one of these or two of these, this is a great little option for social media content, for on-the-go shoots where you don't necessarily need a whole rig, or you don't want to put the whole rig on, or you want to be a little more inconspicuous. For those clients who just want to get social media content, because I think it looks pretty good in the tests that I've been doing with it. And it even can be a really good little B cam in a pinch. You know, if you really just want a second camera angle to your main angle, I think it could be a really good addition to that. Now, one thing that is a little hard to get around is the image distortion with such a wide angle lens, but they do have the zoom in feature. I think I'm punched in 2x here to kind of get rid of that barrel distortion and things like that. So let's get these over to the computer to see how well these can match together, and if the Osmo Pocket 3 can hold its own in a professional setting for your client work. Okay, so now we're in Premiere here, and I'll just show you a little bit of what I did to make it look as good as I could. Now, this was maybe a 10-minute process. I'm sure I could have gone deeper and done a better job, but I'll show you everything that we did. So the first thing we did, let me remove some of these attributes here. So this is what it looked like out of camera, which admittedly, I probably could have set this up better in the studio, but I was moving quickly because this is pretty rough. So what we did is we just obviously played with the color, a lot of the temperature, the highlights, shadows. I made the angle match better, which made me have to crop in a little bit. So you can definitely see the resolution difference when you switch between the two, but that's to be expected just because of the optics. The walls, for some reason, weren't matching. They're pretty blue, and you can see in this one, it's like kind of a more of a warmer tone to it. So, and again, I probably still even did a kind of a rough job, but I just selected the colors of the walls here in the HSL tab, and then warmed them up a little bit, so it's a little different. And then something that I did, this isn't necessarily something you have to do or can do with all subjects, but since I'm sitting pretty still, I added a Gaussian blur layer for the background to give it a little bit more competitiveness towards the FX3 with the lens here. So you can see it's making a difference here. And then I just did a mask around myself just to obviously mask myself out. Obviously, if someone's moving, it can be tricky. You might have to move the mask around and track it and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's a nice little touch. You can notice it here, like in the corner here or in between here. It can be kind of tough, but I think it's a nice little touch that makes it look pretty nice. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. Now let's put them side by side and we'll talk through my final thoughts. So I'm playing this back here, and yes, you can see some differences like in the actual like lens quality and things like that. But I noticed if you look in the microphone, there's definitely some like chromatic aberration or some weird color thing going on there. But if I'm being completely honest, I think that 80+% of clients would be completely happy with the look of the Osmo Pocket 3 if you know what you're doing with it. Obviously, if you have the means, the better the camera, the better the end product. But I think it's really interesting that you can get a camera that's pretty reasonably priced, that is super easy to use, that looks as good as it does in such a small package. So as much as I love it for a behind the scenes camera, I'm definitely going to probably use it on client work where I can't fit my rig into like in a car and things like that. For social media content, I think it's fantastic. And I absolutely think that if you had a mic, two mics, the Osmo Pocket 3 with some filters and accessories, you could easily build a business making $10,000 a month with just this camera. Now, the one catch is if you show up with the Osmo Pocket 3, you're going to have to fight a little bit of the perception of what it looks like. Obviously, if you walk in with a big camera rig, people go, okay, this makes sense on why I'm paying this much money. Walking with the Osmo Pocket 3, people might be like, what the hell is going on? So that is something where, pre-framing, if that's what you're using, letting your work speak for itself before you get in the room and letting them be amazed with what you can do with such a small camera. So like I said, buy gear that is something that you will get an ROI on and is an actual tool in your business. And I think the Osmo Pocket 3 is one of those things. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got something out of it. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this camera or running your video business or anything like that. And as always, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.